but you're asking for it.
Subscribe! For the summary of Yanagi, Yanagi has excellent damage in the form of anomaly and disorder. She does have a higher learning curve. You will need to know how to pilot her properly to be able to bring out her full potential. If you don't, unfortunately, you will be losing out on damage. Her best team comp will be herself, with Bernice and Rina. This will be her de facto best team comp, best disorder team comp for now. If you do not have Bernice, you can substitute Bernice with Piper, even though the damage will be lower, since electric and fire have very good synergy. They can be proc a lot of times. If you don't have Rina, you can substitute her with either Caesar, Seth, or Lucy. You can also run mono electric team. However, your damage will be significantly lowered. The advantage is that it will be quite easy to play. For Drive Disc, 4-piece Chaos Jazz for Disorder teams, 4-piece Thunder Metal for Mono Electric team, alongside 2-piece Freedom Blue. Because of how she works, due to being an on-field DPS, timing your disorders, and lack of needing fast anomaly procs, CN recommends attack for Disc 6 and electric damage bonus for Disc 5. If you are running Rina, Grace's signature W engine, you can change Disc 5 to pen ratio instead. And for Disc 4, it will be your standard anomaly proficiency. For W engines, her signature will be her best engine, with Grace signature being second, and her 4-star options will be Lip Gloss and Weeping Gemini. CN recommends M1 over her signature because it is more comfortable to play. It will be further explained later on in the video if you are interested. CN also recommends only one copy, as she doesn't need much investment to work properly, as she is an anomaly unit. Of course, if you want to pull for her signature and her Mindscape, feel free to do so, but do know that certain units that you might be interested in are coming out in the future, and you might be tight on your polychromes. For skills, you would want to max out her core passive first, followed by her skill into chain attack, leaving basic, assist, and dodge as the final ones. Yanagi has 2 states, Jogen and Kagen. Her basic string is a 5-hit combo, with the 3rd, 4th, and 5th part of the string dealing electric damage. As you can see on screen right now, she has this thing at the back of her ponytail that will signify which state she is currently in. So as you can see here on screen, she is currently in the orange state, and on the left, she is on the blue state. You will be able to see the state buffs on the top left below your character icon. When you are in the blue state, you get an electric damage bonus of 10%, and if you're in the orange state, you get a pen ratio bonus of 10%. When you swap stances using your E, the buff from the previous stance will linger for 8 seconds before disappearing, which means as long as you swap stances within 8 seconds, you will permanently get the benefits of both stances. So for her EX skill, you have the press and the long hold EX skill. Let's talk about the press EX skill first. The press EX skill is very straightforward. You just click on it. It's not much. You change your stance. However, if you chain your EX press with the 3rd, 4th, or 5th hit of your basic string, you will instantly swap stance. You will swap stance faster, and you will enter the 3rd, 4th, and 5th hit of your next basic string. Upon activating the stance swap on your 3rd basic string, Yanagi will instantly chain into her 3rd basic instead of the 1st, making your combo 3 basic attacks into skill, repeating, so on and so forth. So her combo would be basic, 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 skill into 3rd basic, 4th basic, 5th basic, skill into 3rd basic, 4th basic, 5th basic. It bypasses the physical damage part of her basic string, straight into her 3rd, 4th, and 5th, which deal electric damage, which allows you to stack your electrical anomaly faster. For her long press EX skill, upon pressing the EX skill, Yanagi performs a thrust and switches her stance and enters an empowered state. This state is called the Shinra Bansho state, lasting for 15 seconds. For the duration of this state, whenever you hit an enemy with a basic attack, or subsequent basic attacks from the 5th hit, the combo will begin directly from the 3rd hit onwards. So it's the same as the skill press, except this time you don't actually need to press anything. You can just hit and it will instantly continue from the 3rd hit. Yanagi also gets buffed from her core passive when she activates the EX special. The damage multiplier of Disorder is increased by 250 when any squad member applies the Disorder effect to an enemy. When her EX special hits an enemy, Yanagi's electric damage against the target will also be increased by 20 for 15 seconds. As you can see here, Yanagi has a 20% electric damage bonus increase upon pressing long press, and if another unit such as Jane Doe procs Disorder, damage multiplier of the Disorder will also be increased by 250. The second part of her long press special, she slams down, you will see a Disorder proc according to 15% of the Disorder's damage plus 3200 of her anomaly proficiency. Since Yanagi is an on-field DPS, she would want to be on-field most of the times. But you can play her semi-off-field if you want to, but her best performance will be a on-field DPS. So her long press special, EX special, anomaly proc, the multipliers are so high that it actually out-damages Jane Doe's multipliers by quite a bit. As Yanagi is able to proc her own Disorder whenever she wants, it is advisable for you to proc the Disorder as soon as possible, as soon as they enter the disordered state, either from burn or physical. You would want to long press special EX. The faster you proc Disorder when they are in the state, the higher the damage is going to be. Meaning, if the Disorder lasts for 10 seconds and you wait until the 9th second to proc it, your damage will be lower than if you proc it instantly the moment they enter the burn state, for example. So as you can see on the left hand side of the screen, the damage is higher because he procced it instantly compared to waiting and proccing it later. If you do run her in a mono quantum team, obviously she wouldn't be able to proc this Disorder as there will be no secondary element for her to go off of. And you also have to keep in mind, if you do play her in a mono electric team, your allies will also contribute to the anomaly buildup, making your final anomaly proc way weaker, so your damage will see a significant decrease. Now, for her best matchups, for her best teams, it will be with Bernice and her herself. Because of how Bernice works as an off-field DPS, her proccing her afterburn and all that, it frees up a lot of time for Yanagi to be on field, dealing the blunt majority of the damage. For the third unit, you can put in Rina as a support. Rina has really good synergy with anomaly teams and does provide pen ratio for the team as well. This will be the de facto best Disorder team that we currently have. In an event where you don't have Rina, Rina can be replaced by Caesar, Seth, or Lucy. So if you were to play Lucy in this team instead, you would place Lucy in the first slot so that Lucy's buffs will be given to Yanagi. If you were to place Seth, you would place Seth in the second slot so that Seth's buff can go to, the assist can go to Yanagi. If you were to play Yanagi with unit other than Bernice, it wouldn't be ideal. Jane Doe and Grace are all on-field units and they will fight for field time. However, it still works even though it is not that good. The damage is still there. There will be a drop in damage, but it still works. It is possible for you to run this. So if you don't have Bernice, do not fret. If you really like Yanagi and you still want to run her, you can run her with another on-field DPS. For Piper, if you do choose to run her with Piper, do know that Piper is ultimately an A rank And she is also physical. Physical and electric don't really mix as well as fire and electric. Your results will be averaging. You can run a budget comp with Lucy, Yanagi, and Piper if you don't have the aforementioned units, the premium units, the 5-star units. Another unit that you can potentially run with Yanagi would be Nicole. So if you were to run Nicole with Yanagi, you would enter combat with your support character skill, either Rina or Lucy, swap into Yanagi. As soon as Yanagi manages to proc her disorder, you instantly swap to Nicole, proccing Ether Anomaly. So your rotation would be support into Yanagi, into Nicole. Nicole can also do this cool trick with, if you're playing on mouse and keyboard, WASD, if you're playing on your phone, you can turn your joystick 360 degrees, the same with controller, for her to do a sitting down move where she charges up and deals more damage with her EX special. Again, with mono electric, you can run Yanagi in a mono electric team, but do know that you won't be able to proc any disorders and the damage will be lower because both your Rina and Seth will contribute to the anomaly buildup. If you do run mono electric, you will be putting her on 4-piece Thunder instead of 4-piece Chaos. However, if you are running her in a disorder team, you would want her on 4-piece Chaos instead. 4-piece Chaos is her best drive this set if you are running disorder. It is not recommended for you to run 2-piece Chaos, 2-piece Thunder, and 2-piece Freedom Blues. You would much rather prefer either 4-piece Thunder or 4-piece Chaos. For your 2-piece set, it is recommended for you to just always run Freedom Blues. The first one here is Freedom Blues, Anomaly Proficiency. You have a 7.2% increase in damage. The second set here would be the Thunder set, which is only a 5.08. The third set is a pen ratio set with 4.69, and the final set is an attack set with 3.39%. For her Drive This 4, it is standard that you run Anomaly Proficiency, and for Drive This number 5, you can run Electric Damage Bonus, or if you are using a Rina or Grace W engine, you can change the Electric Damage Bonus to a pen ratio Drive This 5 instead. And for Drive This 6, it would be Attack. Now, the reason we go for Attack instead of Anomaly Mastery, since the difference between Anomaly Mastery and Attack isn't that difference, if you run Anomaly Mastery, you only get roughly a 1% plus minus increase in DPS. It makes it harder to time Anomaly procs correctly, because the faster you proc 2 Anomaly effects back to back, the higher the disorder damage is going to be. For W engines, her best in slot W engine will be her signature W engine, as the signature W engine does provide massive buffs to her. Now, as you can see here on the graph, her W engine outperforms the second best, which is Grace, by 11%. This is Grace's signature W engine. And the third one is Weeping Gemini at max refinement with the max stacks at 88%. Following that will be Lip Gloss at max refinement as well. If you don't have Grace's signature or Yanagi's signature, you would go for either Lip Gloss or Gemini, Weeping Gemini, whichever one has the higher refinement. Now for her Mindscapes, her Mindscape 1 is actually preferred over her signature because the amount of comfort it gives you and the amount of just the stats that it gives. Because M1 is just way more comfortable to play compared to the signature weapon, as every single time you get hit, you can actually consume an inside charge to become invulnerable. So CN recommends that if you were to pull for either M1 or S1, it is preferable that you go for M1. So for her M2, Electric Anomaly buildup increases by 20. Holding down the special attack button after a rapid thrust hits an enemy will consume 10 additional energy to launch another thrust. When the downward attack hits an enemy suffering an anomaly and triggers polarity disorder, the damage multiplier increases to 20% of the original disorder effect. Each additional thrust increases this multiplier by 15% up to a maximum of 2 extra thrusts. So M2 basically changes the way you play her. Instead of long pressing your EX special once, you would actually want to hold it down until you run out of energy, because it increases your damage until she can do the big slam that procs the polarity disorder. So M2 is a pretty big increase in damage, roughly 15 to 18%. Now for her M4, when Yanagi inflicts attribute anomaly on an enemy, they suffer the expose effect lasting 15 seconds. Attacks on enemies under the expose effect will have 16% increased pen ratio. Now do note that if you are running Rina with Grace's W engine on Yanagi, any pen ratio exceeding 100% will be wasted, which is why this Mindscape is pretty lackluster. However, the pen ratio applies to the whole team, which makes it still alright if you do want to pull for M4. Now for M6, after thrust during her EX special attack, duration of the empowered state, Shinra Bansho state, increases to 30 seconds, effectively doubling the time. While the state is active and her EX special attack damage increases by 20%, the maximum number of times the additional damage multiplier increase effect for polarity disorder can be triggered increases to 4 times instead of 2. M6 increases your polarity damage by quite a lot, gives you a lot of quality of life, increasing your Shinra Bansho state to 30 seconds instead of 15 seconds. But I don't think it's really needed because you're going to be swapping stances quite often anyway, which makes the additional 15 seconds, in my opinion, kind of a waste. They could have maybe done something more to increase her polarity damage, maybe. Or maybe make it so that the polarity procs twice. I think this is pretty lackluster. And CN also thinks that the M6 is pretty lackluster for an M6. And with that, we've come to the end of CN analysis for Yanagi. I apologize if you guys were expecting Pokke, but all you guys got was me, his mod. Please be sure to give him a warm welcome when he comes back, as I'm pretty sure he's very sick and tired of staying on the sea, staying on the ocean. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.